Show. Welcome back to Two Marks and Spark. A little later than usual, but we're here. I'm Ben. I'm here every week. I don't think there's ever been one of these that's been done without me. Russ is here too. A few of these have been done
Yes.
without him, but we figured it out. Hi, Russ.
Hi, you're stuck with me now.
I prefer it that way.
Okay, good, good,
Genuinely, it's a lot easier when the show is named Two Marks and a Spark, and there's actually two of us here.
good deal. All right.
Well, Russ, it's a snowy winter day across most of America, and pro wrestling is nonstop. Of
Yes,
course,
almost every day.
we are talking about stuff from last week. We are also going to talk about some stuff from this week because there is news happening all around us. First thing I want to hit, this happened right before we went on air here. Matt Camp, who has been with WWE forever. I mean, since 2019, he's been doing the bump. He's done kickoff shows. He's done backstage interviews. He's done pretty much everything. He got let go today. That sucks because he was good at his job.
Hmm.
That guy's gonna work somewhere else. I won't be surprised if it's AEW. RJ said he was already putting him over, so I won't be surprised if he ends up in AEW. The other thing, we got to talk about it as much as I don't want to. Billy Jack Haynes.
Billy Jack Haynes arrested a few days ago in Portland, charged with the murder of his wife.
And if you read any of the articles at all, it sounds like they have him, quote unquote, no pun intended, dead to rights.
Yeah, there was a reports of initially him resisting the police. I believe he tried to barricade himself. I don't know that any more shots were fired, but they talked him out and he surrendered himself. The neighbors said they were very stunned because most of the neighbors really liked them, said they were good neighbors. One of them mentioned that the wife was about 10 years older than him, and they believed that she was suffering from Alzheimer's disease. Uh, I'm sure if you've seen Billy Jack's interviews over the years, they've been kind of troubling and sad if you were a fan of his. Since he retired from professional wrestling, he's made a lot of grandiose claims. He's made a lot of statements, which to me, and I'm not an expert, but as someone who worked in the field, I feel like were clear signs of mental illness of some sort. It seemed like, somebody who needed help. So this is a tragedy.
And the crazy thing is, his Wikipedia lists three wives.
Him and Stone Cold Steve Austin have an ex-wife in common.
Which one?
Um, what are the names there? Is it list them?
Yeah, hold on, I can just find
It
out.
was the one who was the one of the early gimmicks, one of the early valets that Stone Cold had.
Oh, Lady Blossom.
Thank you. That's it, Lady Blossom.
Yeah, they do have an ex-wife in common. You're absolutely right.
I mean, he came up with some wild theories over the years. One of them that was that Chris Benoit's son Daniel was Vince McMahon's love child. Another time, he claimed to have been a mafia hitman who traveled around the country. The boys that were found in the on the railroad tracks in Arkansas. He claims that he is the one who placed the bodies on the track because he was a drug dealer and hitman for the mafia. And he
Why would
made
you
all
just
these
say
things.
these things?
He said all these things in public and on the internet, but he was never arrested. He was never taken in. He was never questioned. I think the man was maybe just trying to create hype. But if you were just trying to hype people, you wouldn't say that. I think he was not quite all there. Delusional is the word. That's the correct word. Delusional.
That is certainly the correct word. Speaking of Stone Cold Steve Austin, it sounds like him versus CM Punk may happen after all.
That is, yeah, I did hear something about that. That is hard to believe.
Totally preposterous.
I know. I don't think Stone Cold should wrestle again.
Okay,
Look at
he's
those braces.
59.
Look at those braces. He needs just how heavy those braces are just to walk around.
He's 59. By the time Punk is fully cleared to wrestle, he might just be 60.
Right.
Uh,
I don't want to see CM Punk beat up a 60-year-old man.
or get beat up by a 60-year-old man for that.
Right. And Punk's in his 50s, isn't he?
40s.
Oh, okay. Well, he looks like he's in his 50s.
Sometimes he looks like he's in his 60s. Depends on the
Yeah.
day.
So I look at him
Uh,
and I think, straight edge my ass, give me a beer.
shit, hand me two. Um,
Yeah.
so let's talk about.
Oh, we
I
need to
have the
talk about
wrong.
Scott Demore also.
We talked
Oh,
about Scott Demore last week.
oh, we did? Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah,
we
I'm
barely
a
covered
little
it.
I'm a little worried about TNA's future.
A little,
Yeah,
probably a lot. I'm a lot worried about TNA. I think TNA's screwed.
that's when they were really starting to get going.
I think they're screwed.
Yeah.
But and I said
I,
that last week. I think TNA's screwed.
okay.
Uh, but let's get into Raw, and Raw doesn't really matter from last week because they course corrected everything by Thursday, and then by the time we get to
Right.
Friday, it's over. Um,
Well, last
so
night, or excuse me, Monday night.
last week
Yes.
they were in St. Louis, and this was a good Raw show. Don't get me wrong, but the problem now is that WWE has is that they are in this transition period of going from Vince era to whatever the hell this new thing is going to be.
Right.
And I don't know what it is yet. Frankly, I'm not sure they know.
Right.
Because if you've been watching Raw lately, little things have been changing. There's they're starting to add some black tones into the background of certain parts of the Videotron. I don't know if you've noticed, but like the video board doesn't have a background anymore. I think it's to go to the Netflix thing of black and red because they're going to be on Netflix for so fucking long.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is just like aesthetic changes that only the most astute viewers, such as yourself, would notice.
Well,
Well,
that and the
because
fact that
you have a trained eye to look at how things are broadcast.
like they've got new people running production now. This
Right.
isn't this isn't Kevin Dunn's dog and pony show anymore.
This could be a huge improvement.
It has already has been a huge improvement. Go back and watch anything from 2019 and you will know. But this show starts, Cody comes out. Well, Seth comes out first and then he calls Cody out. But this whole thing, I don't know, man. They really dotted around Cody giving an answer here. Drew was great here. He had that Punk shirt with like CM Punk's hopes and dreams on a grave or
I
something like
love
that.
that. Is that commercially available?
Yes.
Really? Well, I would imagine Punk's going to make some money off that too then.
Drew says he's not, but
Oh, come on. They've got to be getting, both of them got to be making money on that.
let me make sure you can still get that t-shirt. You for sure could about a week ago. Oh, yes, you can. Russ, can I interest you in a CM Punk's WrestleMania main event t-shirt? with
Oh, no,
the
thank you.
Drew.
No, thank you.
No, 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 no. It's the Drew McIntyre one with the funny face he's making and the gravestone
Oh,
for
yeah.
32.99.
How much?
32.99.
Well, shoot. I got two shirts for less than that the other day at Goodwill. No, thank you.
Uh, oh, but you get free shipping.
Oh, that does help, because shipping costs are way, way up.
You can get it up into 5XL. They know their market.
There you go. That's right.
Uh, the things we talk about on this show.
But if you get
Anyway,
one, they don't charge extra for the XXL.
how much they
Some
charge for a
places do.
5X?
Yep.
It's the same price all the way up to 5X.
All right. Cool.
You'd think they'd charge less if you got smaller, but Anyway, the things we
Hello,
talk
you
about on
froze
this
up there,
show,
dude.
huh?
You are frozen. Oh, there you are. You're back. You froze up for a second.
Forgive us, technical difficulties, but anyway, talking more about this Raw show. Russ, can you hear me okay? It's telling me
I can
my,
hear you just fine. You can hear me?
yeah, everything
Good.
just bugged out for a second. I'm sorry. Okay, back to this. So we had a four-way for the tag title tournament thing. They
Right.
basically did their own version of an eliminator here.
Correct.
It was DIY, Imperium, New Day, and the Creeds. And
All good
DIY ended up,
teams. All really good teams.
and in terms of like a four-way tag, this was about as good as you can get.
Right.
And DIY end up winning. They go on to face Dunn and uh, Bait on Friday.
By the
We'll
way,
talk more.
it's good to see him back using the name Pete Dunne. That's another change since Vince is gone. He's Pete Dunne.
Triple H said
He's not Butch anymore.
Triple H woke up and said, "You know what? Vince is gone. Can we get rid of all of this bullshit now
That's right.
that,
That's right.
that I have nothing to do with?"
Right.
He's like, "I didn't name this fucking guy Butch.
Right.
His name's Pete."
Pete
Not,
Dunne. Pete Dunne. I like him. I think he's a good wrestler.
he's great. We had a whole bunch of stalling in between here, mostly commercial, and then we had an elimination chamber qualifier, Baszler versus Lynch. This was good.
Yes. Yes, it
Becky
was.
had to win.
I know she had to win, but it was a good match. And Shayna Baszler really knows how to go. I know she's not getting pushed heavily right now, but
They should
her,
have put Shayna against somebody else. I don't know who, but they should have put Shayna against somebody else and just
I mean, they didn't really need to pull the trigger on her. She could be such. Here's the thing, I bitch all the time about how so many in the women's division they look alike, they talk alike, they wrestle alike. She stands out. She's an individual. She's not a pretty girl. She'll kick your ass. And somehow that is even a little bit hot.
well, anyway, then we get this god awful fucking Rhea Ripley segment.
Yes.
This was atrocious.
Well, it just seemed a little forced.
So Rhea was not happy. Mommy was mad. And
This is where she's chewing the team out.
this is where she's chewing out Adam Pearce saying she wants Nia Jax.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And this was just this ends in Nia Jax getting a fucking title match at the pay-per-view, which nobody wanted to see.
Right.
Russ, I want to remind you, we're gonna have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch this fucking thing.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, well, then we might as well just have breakfast while we're doing it, right? Well, afterwards, we'll just have breakfast. We'll have our breakfast and coffee while we're doing the show.
Dude, I don't know when we're gonna do that show. It'll be that day.
Yeah,
I'm not sure we're gonna do it after the chamber because, dude, okay, here's the one way I think we do the show right after the chamber. If The Rock gets added to the card or something.
sure.
But
I am. Whenever we watch it, I'm looking forward to see the home crowd respond to her and Bronson Reed.
if Bronson even ends up on the show,
Yeah, but if I was booking it and I'd take all my Australian wrestlers there,
which
all
isn't
of them.
very many.
Yeah,
Uh, so then we had this mixed tag match, Maxine and Akira against um
it
Ivar
was
and Valhalla.
Valhalla and it was the Vikings, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Valhalla and Ivar, if I remember correctly.
Yes, it was Valhalla and Ivar.
And Valhalla, uh, or she used to wrestle under a different name, like Sarah Logan or something like that.
Yeah, she did. And there's been
I
some
liked her
weird
a
stories
lot.
about
I
her
liked her
too.
a lot, but she never got a push.
And she never will.
I thought she'll never get a push because if they really let her go, she's the kind that could wrestle circles around some of the other ones, you know. But she's not gonna
Uh
get. I think she's pretty good.
she's okay. I mean, she's not better than Becky.
Nope, no, she's not.
She's not top 5 in the division. Not even close. I mean, not now that you're going to throw Tiffany Stratton on the main roster, which they're going to do.
Are they
Uh,
now?
yeah.
All right. Tiffany
Uh,
Stratton. Why is she ready to go? I don't know why she's getting over. I've seen her wrestle. She's okay, but she would have
oh,
been
she's great.
well, yeah, she's.
Her
I don't
promo
hate
gets her
her.
over.
I don't hate her, you know, but
It's her promo. She's good on the mic. So that's going to get you over, especially in WWE. If you're good on the
right.
mic, you're going to get
And
over.
I just, well, sometimes I got to admit it, I have maybe a little bit of a bias against skinny blondes, and I got to overcome that and just realize that, hey, a lot of people like skinny blondes. Don't hold that against her. See how she can talk and wrestle. I like them a little more thick myself, you know.
Well, thick women aside, as Russ likes to say. Miz versus JD McDonough. This was a nothing match.
Yeah, two good wrestlers. I like the Miz; he's doing better. But yeah, it was just it was a space filler.
This just ate a ton of time. I I don't know why. They gave these guys 10 minutes and it needed like 5. I don't know what was going on here. Then we
Well,
had perhaps the dumbest thing I've ever seen, which was a video package of CM Punk talking about his surgery. Why did we need this?
because they're paying the guy a shit ton of money, so they want to get him on TV whenever they can.
Put him on commentary.
Yeah, actually, he's quite good on commentary. He's enjoyable. They
Anyway,
can do that.
after after that waste of time. By the way, he said he would be make the greatest comeback of all time.
Really,
Buddy, not hardly.
we've heard that before. Maybe he
Perhaps in
will.
an
Well,
Perhaps
Of
in
all,
another company, we've heard that before.
of all time, of all time. Come on, man.
I don't know. Edge's comeback was pretty fucking great.
I know, but man, the Earth is 4.5 billion years old. Come on, that's of all time. You never know.
Wrestling's been around for like 150 years of all time. Come on.
Yeah. How about that? Well, you could make a Nick Nemeth had a hell of a comeback last year. He'd be a contender for a comeback of the year.
So we had the Gunther Intercontinental Championship celebration that 5 years ago almost certainly would have been cut off by Dolph Ziggler.
Right, exactly. You're right.
I'm just saying it would have.
Yeah.
Uh, anyway, gets cut off by Jey Uso. These two are probably going to have a match at Mania. It's going to be really good.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, there's nothing really to talk about there. The rest of Raw is really nothing other than this bull rope match between
Oh,
Nakamura and Rhodes.
yeah, it
Cody.
was all right. It was kind of an homage to Dusty,
This
although it
was
wasn't
fun.
anywhere near as chaotic and violent and bloody as the old like bunkhouse matches or anything like that.
No.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing.
I'm gonna save Dynamite because I want to talk about the press conference first, and I know we're going out of order here because the press
That's
conference happened on
fine.
Thursday. I'm not gonna hit everything from this press conference because a lot of it was nonsense,
Sure.
quite
Just
frankly.
get right to the meat and potatoes.
So first of all, I want to say WWE did a fantastic job setting this thing up. Apparently, there was only like 2 or 3 thousand people in the building, but it looked full.
Right. It looked
I
bigger
don't know
than
how they did that, but good job, guys.
they're really good at hiding a small crowd. Which, like in the last year,
It's a
they
press conference. You're not going to get a big crowd.
right. They don't have to do that for their shows anymore, unlike AEW, who has to do that for some of their weekly shows.
They don't have to do that for their pay per views, though, because their pay per views still sell out.
Yes, they do.
We can shit on their weekly TV all we want, but their pay per views are still
Much better.
big business. Big business, no pun intended, for what we're going to talk about in a minute.
Right.
So this press conference starts. Big E is on the panel,
Good
and
to
I
see.
thought, oh my God, are they going to announce his return here? Because that would make a world of sense. They didn't.
Right. Right. It's there's still, from what I understand, there still is some question as to if and when. It it,
I
it
mean,
seems like he's doing the therapy still, but he just ain't getting there.
I would be fine if they said he's going to be on commentary or do these panels or shit. Give him a show on the WWE network. I don't care. I want Big E on my TV.
Me too. And there's an unanswered question that I still think about, and I want to know whatever happened with Big E and Becky's mom. Remember that? You remember
Bagley.
when Big E had a thing for Becky's mom.
That was ridiculous. Do you remember when Big
Oh
E first
no,
came?
no, no, that wasn't ridiculous. That was cool because
Do you remember?
he knew that the older ladies are the attractive ones.
Do you remember when Big E first came to the main roster?
Yeah.
Total sidetrack. Do you
Yeah.
remember who they paired him with?
No,
Dolph Ziggler.
I don't remember that.
Okay. For those of you that don't remember this, this is this is for real what happened. Dolph Ziggler had won Money in the Bank in God 2012. I want to say 2013, whatever it was. SmackDown Money in the Bank, he won. It was 2012 because he cashed in 13.
Right.
Well, anyway, he decided to get a bodyguard.
Oh, I kind of Yeah, I kind of this sounds vaguely familiar. The old
So we got
bodyguard.
Big E. And remember, this is when they had him with AJ because AJ had a ton of heat and they wanted some of that heat to go on to Dolph. And it didn't work because Dolph still didn't get booed.
Right,
Uh, because nobody booed Dolph Ziggler back then because he was the most fucking over guy to never fucking do anything.
right.
Um, and they at one point, I remember this because both Big E and AJ Lee have talked about this on podcasts. There was a point where Big E was making his entrance, and you remember how he used to swing his arms around? Well, there was a point where he shoot freaking karate chopped AJ like right here,
Oh man, oh no.
and she fucking no sold it.
Oh really?
And he didn't mean to do it. And apparently, when they got backstage, according to both of them, when they got backstage, Big E was damn near in tears because he felt so bad.
Yeah.
He's
Cool.
like, I didn't want to hit you. I'm sorry. Oh,
Yeah.
fuck. And keep in mind, he hadn't been on the main roster that long at this point. So he's
Well, he
like,
has been on TV a long time before we've seen this.
right.
It's been months and months and months.
But he hadn't been on TV very long. He hadn't been on the main roster very long when that AJ thing happened. So
Oh,
he thought that was going to be the end of him.
right.
Because,
Biggie's got a
when
lot
you're
of
the
fans.
body,
Biggie's got a lot of fans in Iowa because he played for the Hawkeyes, played football.
well, anyway, so Big E's great on this thing. CM Punk was clearly just shooting the whole time.
And I see, I like actually, I enjoy him on commentary because he'll say something out of left field. He don't care.
Well, anyway, this whole thing finally starts to feel like it's winding down. They'd go about another 20 minutes, but it feels like it's starting to wrap up when Seth Rollins comes out and then Roman Reigns comes out.
Here comes the story. This is the main thing we tune in here. This is the main part of the soap opera.
This is our soap opera. This is our stories. Uh,
Right.
so Seth asks Cody to come out. Cody doesn't come out. Roman comes out. Pat McAfee sounded very confused the whole time. The most coherent sentence Pat McAfee formed while they were doing this whole thing was, "It's our tribal chief." Just like that.
Yep.
I intentionally cracked my voice there. That was on purpose, I assure you. Uh,
Yep.
and well, Roman says it's not Cody's decision anymore. It's mine, and I choose The Rock. And here comes The Rock. And brother, does he have heat?
Oh yeah. But this is like 95, 96. I think I might have said
96.
86 last time, but I meant to say 90s. Just had the wrong decade. Uh, when you've been as old as me, they all kind of blur together, son. They just kind of blur together. Next thing you know,
Well,
you got Frank Gotch versus Ric Flair.
well, anyway, this whole fucking thing just breaks down into mass chaos when Rock and Roman do their whole bound by blood thing and they do the
Yeah.
bit. And we had the whole family tree. If you haven't seen that yet, it's fucking
That-
everywhere. Go look it
It's,
up.
it's impressive too. It's very impressive.
Jacob Fatu was on there and he's a free agent, so I wonder if they're not going to go get him. They almost have to.
I did notice that. Yeah, I think was he on WWE like one time, or was it? He hasn't been on AEW, has he, or TNA or anything?
I think he was in TNA once
Because
when they
I
were
remember
dead.
hearing about it. It might have been TNA where I heard about his debut and about how they didn't make a big deal out of it and didn't really promote it right. And I thought, well, they probably didn't have the money to promote it. After they paid him his paycheck, they didn't have any money left over to promote the show.
after they gave him his paycheck, they're like, "Well, it's going to be the Jacob Fatu show for 2 fucking hours because
Well,
we
yeah.
ain't got no more money. We just overdrew our bank account to get Jacob Fatu for one night only." Whoa. Well, anyway,
Anyway,
speaking
that
of
was.
overdrawn bank accounts, it would appear The Rock overdrew his bank account with credibility anyway, in terms of with Cody Rhodes, because Cody comes out and says, and I quote, "This is bullshit."
Hmm.
To which I said, "Amen, brother."
Yeah, this was very well done, I thought.
Well, this whole thing falls apart because The Rock decides to slap Cody.
Well, he insulted
And
his blood.
and Triple H gets very angry. Adam Pearce looks like he's gonna blow a gasket
Hmm.
because he realizes his top star is going to SmackDown. And Nick Aldis just looked like a deer in the headlights. What the fuck just happened?
Yes, Nick
Like,
Aldis.
please don't bring the Nick Aldis just looks like, please don't bring this shit to SmackDown. Oh my god, I don't want to deal with this.
Right, right, right.
He's like, oh god, Adam needs a drink. Fuck, I need three. Because he's
Yes,
got Adam Pearce has two sayings. It's official and I need a drink.
I need a drink. Right, exactly. And yeah, uh,
I still can't believe
Nick
that
Aldis.
Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce are in the same fucking company again.
Right. Hey, Nick Aldis. What's his old name before he was Nick
Brutus
Aldis?
Magnus.
Brutus. Okay, then who was Desmond? Was that Nigel McGuinness? Was he Desmond? See, sometimes I get those Brits mixed up occasionally in my mind. He was the one that was Desmond, whatever.
Desmond Wolf. He was great too.
Thank you.
Okay, so anyway, this whole thing ends in Rock basically being fucked out of the main event in the same way he tried to fuck Cody. And
Didn't work though, did it? And he,
no, and we'll talk about Triple H's response to that whole thing on SmackDown because it was fucking great. But I
oh, it
want to talk
was.
about Dynamite. Um, Swerve Strickland versus Hangman Adam Page. Hangman may not be over, but him and Swerve have something real special.
Yes. Yes, they do. They do
And
have good chemistry.
they go
Only
to
a
a time limit
matches I've
draw.
really enjoyed her is once with Swerve here
And
lately.
well, this goes to a time limit draw.
That was a they did that one pretty well.
I think it was the right call because they're going for a three-way.
Exactly. And you know, to have Hangman Adam Page to back out of the 5 minutes more challenge, it made him look cowardly. And I really
They're gonna
like
do a double turn. They're
they
gonna do a
need
double turn to these guys.
he Hangman needs badly to be a despicable little chicken shit heel. He really that's the kind of character he could do the best, in my opinion. I have a hard time buying him as a baby face.
As do I. And then we had Renee Paquette backstage with Samoa Joe.
Every time Samoa Joe talks, I enjoy it because he's a real pro. Every time he wrestles, every time he talks, he never misses a step.
I know the plan is probably to put the belt on Swerve,
Yep.
but they should at least consider the idea of Samoa Joe.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you, if they're putting on Swerve, I really hope that he beats Samoa Joe cleanly. because I don't like three-way and four-way
I
matches.
hope what happens is this is three-way at the pay-per-view at Revolution, and Joe pins Hangman, and then you get to Double or Nothing with Swerve versus Joe.
That would work for me really well because that would give us a little bit more time for with Joe as champion and a little bit slower build for Swerve.
I'd
And
be fine if
that might,
Joe didn't lose the belt, like at all.
yeah.
Like just keep the belts on Joe. What do he's not hurting anybody.
Well, the thing I like about Samoa Joe is he's a heel. He doesn't really talk shit about people. He never says anything that he can't back up. He never says anything that isn't true.
Much like Drew McIntyre as a heel.
Exactly.
Then we got Timeless Tony Storm with her butler and her stalker superfan Mariah May against Red Velvet.
Mm-hmm. Did you catch that line? She said to her protege there, the young one, forget her name. She
Mariah
said,
May.
she said, did you watch my match? And she said, darling, if you've seen one woman's match, you've seen them all. That was great. She is
It,
really over the top hilarious.
they should never take the belt off her for as long as she has this gimmick.
Mhm.
And
But
this gimmick will not.
I think this feud though with Deanna Prazo could be we could get some good matches out of this.
One thing I want to know, and I've been saying this for months, where the hell's Britt Baker?
I have no idea. Hey,
This
we did
div-
hear something from her a few months ago, and she talked about how she wasn't being used on TV, and we haven't heard peep since then, and she hasn't been on TV. So I don't know. That's one of the if she's not wrestling because that's her preference, that's great. If not, it's too bad because she's a great performer.
she
She's
might
one
be
of the
hurt. I don't know.
yeah, that very well could be.
If she's hurt, fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. But don't tell me you have nothing for her. It's Britt fucking Baker, for God's sake.
You find for a star of that level, you find something for him, right?
She's a homegrown star.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if you remember this, but there was a very extended period of time where Britt Baker was getting the biggest pop on every AEW show, men included,
Right.
biggest pop out of all of them.
I believe she might have been mentioned as one of the four pillars in the very beginning. When they
No,
talked about,
it was always Guevara, Jack, Max, and Tay.
didn't they have a similar thing on the women's side? No, okay,
She's considered the fifth pillar, but
right.
I mean, she might be the fourth one now if Jack isn't there anymore.
Well, she could go into WWE.
And if
And
she
be
goes to WWE, you know who else is going to WWE?
her husband.
Adam Cole, baby.
That's right. I
And
wonder if he.
let's not forget who the original Triple H guy is.
See, that's the thing with Vince McMahon being gone. A lot of people might say, "Hey, I'll go back now."
Andrade.
Yeah.
Malachi wants to go back. Miro wants to go back.
Oh, Miro. Talking about a guy who never gets to finish his story. Man, last we
Yeah.
knew, he was still feuding with God, but he was thinking about reconciling with his wife. But that's been a couple of months ago. So who knows what happened now?
And then we got some Deanna Purrazzo stuff on commentary during this match. This whole thing is setting up for a match at the pay-per-view. We all know that it's happening.
Right.
I think it might even be official now. We had Renee Paquette backstage with Cassidy, Beretta, and Romero.
I always enjoy seeing Renee Paquette backstage because she's a competent interview person. And
I
I
always
know
enjoy seeing Rocky Romero.
what's that?
I love Rocky Romero because I think he's the most intelligent out of everybody in that group,
Oh yeah,
other than Orange, who does like the least amount and gets over with it.
sure does.
Um, this wasn't great. This didn't get over with me. Anyway, then we had a six-man tag: Moxley, Danielson, and Claudio against a
Three,
bunch of guys from CMLL.
yeah, that I'm not familiar with it. I can't remember.
I wrote their names down. Forgive me if I mispronounce one of these because I'm going to. Mascara Dorada, Volador Jr., and Hecacero, I'm going to go with.
Right.
Something like that. This was good,
It would have been
but
better if we had a little bit more knowledge of who they were.
yeah. So this is all leading to AEW versus CMLL at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah. Have you ever watched much CMLL?
Never in my life.
I used to have a, not where I live now, but I used to be able to get a feed of that was in Spanish. So I would occasionally try to absorb it, even though I don't know Spanish. It's interesting after you watch it, you can kind of pick up a little bit on what's going on. It's just such a totally different, a radically different type of wrestling that, I have to shift gears when I watch it.
Then we got Tony Khan's announcement.
I know. Another show.
So they've announced now AEW Big Business. It is very obvious what they're going to do here, as my headset just about falls off my head. It is very obvious what they're going to do here. It's Sasha Banks time.
I got a feeling we're going to see that.
And I'll tell you right now, Tony is retaining at the pay-per-view. I guarantee it. And do you know who she's going to lose to? Mercedes. Do you know why? Because this company loves, and I mean loves, that WWE rub.
Uh-huh. Right.
And that's two former WWE stars.
But she's not Sasha Banks anymore. She's something else. I can't remember.
Mercedes Moné.
Thank you. Mercedes Monette, like the famous painter.
Nope, just Monet. Take the T off.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, then we had Takeshita versus Jericho. This was rotten.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. I wasn't impressed. I'm sorry, Chris. I mean, you're one of the best of all time, but dude, we don't need to see you wrestling on TV every week.
Jericho was horrendous.
I don't think he
Takeshita
knows.
was great.
I don't think Chris Jericho knows how he looks, man.
Somebody needs to pull him aside and be like, dude,
You're
it's
embarrassing
time.
yourself.
Dude, it's
I'm sorry,
time.
man. I hate to say that too, because I've always been a big fan, but I feel like there's been a steady decline in this work since he came to AEW. Well, not so much at first, but let's say the last year or two.
The first year, he was fantastic.
It's just that, man, I don't know how your body can keep going.
All right, time for me to go on a rant.
Go on a rant,
So, this godforsaken fucking main event.
which was,
Big Bill and Ricky Starks against Sting and Darby Allin.
there you go.
Fuck, I hated this.
Yeah, and tell us why it was a piece of crap.
So the match itself, like the actual wrestling bit, was good. For a tornado tag, this was very good. But the problem here is the fact that A, this was the fucking main event.
Hmm.
In 2024, 65-year-old Sting is main eventing a television program.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Right.
So that's my first problem with this whole thing.
Yeah.
When, by the way, earlier in this exact same show, we had a number one contenders match for the World Heavyweight title.
Yes. Why was that not the main event?
And everybody's going to say, oh, it's because they went to a draw that they didn't close the show.
That would have been a great climax to the show.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's wrestling. It's fake. Well, it's not fake. It's fixed. The fix
Right.
is in, brother.
Yeah, that would have been a great ending to the show with him refusing the extension and just going off saying, "You didn't beat me. You didn't beat me." And then the question of what's going to happen now, and then just continue it to next week.
So
Perfect
anyway,
main event.
then the finish happened, and I got angry.
Yeah. You didn't find it credible. And what came down there was pretty rotten.
So Sting ends up hitting Starks, not Spears. What am I saying? Starks with a Scorpion Death Drop. Hitting him clean in the middle of the ring. Sting and Darby Allin. Sting, who is retiring in about 2 weeks,
Right.
and Darby Allin
Right.
win the tag team titles.
You see, and and it's interesting you bring up what a crappy ending that is. Because I read online behind the scenes rumors, who knows if it's true or not, but he had to be persuaded. Sting did not want to win the titles. He felt like it didn't make any sense. And guess what? He's the veteran. He should have been listened to, right?
Do you know when this would have made sense? 4 fucking months ago.
Yeah. Now he's going to be retired by the end of the month, so let's do it now.
Okay. You want to know what a better setup for this would have been? Sting and Darby win this at All Out. Have them win them in like fucking September of last year
Sure.
and have them hold the belts all the way to now. And the question being, what's going to happen to the belts when Sting retires?
Right.
And you can build that for 6 months and not have to do this rush 2 week bullshit. You would not have been mad if Sting and Darby had won the belts in September.
Yeah.
You would have said, okay, well, whatever, I guess. Hell, you could have had them win the belts, drop it to Starks and Big Bill again, and then win them back if you really wanted to.
Yeah. You're going to do that.
You had 6 months at that point, and supposedly Tony's known about this for about 18 months.
Okay.
He's known about this for a while. This wasn't new news. So he decides, I'm guessing last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks before. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago. Maybe it was 3. You know what we're going to fucking do? On the February 7th, when Sting is retiring on March 3rd,
Right.
episode of Dynamite,
Yeah.
Sting is going to win the title. because that just makes a world of fucking sense.
Hmm.
What?
It doesn't. It doesn't make any sense.
Okay, okay. And then, as if that's not dumb enough, here come the fucks. I mean the
I
Bucks.
know the EVPs. This was pathetic,
Mind you, Sting's sons jumped the barricade
right?
to celebrate with their dear old dad. And he is old.
He's
Sting
younger
is
than me,
definitely,
but he's still old.
but he is a champion. Remember that. He's a tag team champion.
That's right,
Tony Khan will be eager to remind you.
right. How old are his sons? I wonder.
I don't know, but I could find out.
Hey, just
Look it up.
curious,
Sting's kids take a bump,
right?
which was reckless at the very least.
Right.
And maybe they're trained. I don't know. I have no idea.
I hope so.
If these guys are trained wrestlers, I'm fine with it. Even if they've only had basics and they just know how to take a bump, you know what? And they wanted to do it and they signed up for it.
Hmm.
I'm fine with it. I think you're fine with it too, if that's what happened.
Right.
But the problem I have is you give these guys this big tag title win that people wanted fucking a year ago. People are not complaining that Sting and Darby won the belts. How long have you and me been saying that Sting and Darby should have at least one tag title run?
Yep.
Not a month before Sting retires.
Yeah.
This is too late. You missed the ball on this by 3 months at least.
Correct.
So now
Yeah.
Darby gets cut open in this whole thing. Everybody gets beat up. The Bucks hold up the tag titles, and it looks like we're gonna get the Bucks versus Sting and Darby, which we were already gonna get anyway. But now it's gonna be for the fucking titles.
Hmm.
And you know what's gonna happen when the Bucks fucking pin Sting in the middle of the ring on pay per view in Greensboro, North Carolina?
Fans are going to be very unhappy.
That place is gonna go fucking nuclear. I don't know if you know this about retirement matches, Russ. They're supposed to be feel good. They're supposed to be happy. They're supposed to be good moments.
Right.
They're setting themselves up for a very bad time
Yeah, they are.
because one of two fucking things is going to happen. Neither of them good. Either A, the Bucks are going to win, which means
Ooh.
Sting goes out flat on his back, which I'm not a fan. I don't know about you, but I don't think Sting should be going out flat on his back,
Especially in a tag team match.
especially in a match that shouldn't mean anything. It's a fucking retirement match. It's not a fucking main event 1982 or 1986 or whenever. Two, now, on top of it being Sting's last match, if Sting and Darby win, do you know what they have to do the next Wednesday? They have to trot out there on Dynamite and say, well, we won, but there's a catch. The titles are vacant
Right. Because we're retired. Yeah.
because he's retiring and I don't have another partner.
How does that make any sense?
Or they could do the really dumb thing and Sting just gives his belt to whoever else is going to be
Right.
Darby's partner now, which would be, wait for it, stupid.
Right. It sure would be. You got it.
I spent way too long on that. We're going to move on now
Okay. All right.
to something that makes me a little less fucking angry. Dynamite was a good show, but goddamn was that ending rotten.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's talk about SmackDown.
Hated the ending. SmackDown.
Actually, Uncle Russ talks shit. Let's talk.
Second episode just dropped a few days ago talking about record albums. Sometime this week I'll be recording episode 3. Not completely sure of the subject matter, but I will be talking shit about something, and you won't want to miss it on YouTube from Lock 22 Productions.
Right here on youtube.com/Lock22. So anyway,
SmackDown.
because we spent so long on everything else, I'm going to breeze through SmackDown because we are running out of time. But because I do not want this to be a 90-minute show,
Mhm.
we are going to cut through SmackDown like a knife through warm butter.
Just get the high points, the important stuff. In other words,
This show
Bailey and whatever else is important.
this show started with Corey Graves on play-by-play commentary, which immediately, I know he was there the week before, but this still throws me for a fucking loop.
Yeah. Yeah. He was gone for quite a while, was he not?
No, he wasn't gone. He's just on play-by-play now, and he was usually a color guy.
Okay.
And it's weird. I don't know how else to describe it, but weird. It's not bad, it's weird. Though one thing Corey does incredibly well, I'll give him credit for this, is when he needs to shut up, he shuts up.
Yeah.
He lays out really well. And I don't know if he just knows when to do that or if Triple H is in his ear telling him, brother, lay out.
Yes.
Speaking of Triple H, he started this show.
And I liked it.
It was very good to hear Triple H's entrance music again because it frankly kicks all of the ass. That Bow Down to the King entrance theme is so badass.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I like Motorhead.
And Triple H was so good here.
There seems to be a
He
little confusion about who's in charge around here.
and he didn't say that in like a, oh, I just want to clear this up kind of way. He said that in a, this happened yesterday and I'm fucking pissed.
Yeah, he got right to the camera like he was getting right in the Rock's face. You knew it was very. I liked it.
Some of my favorite bits from this were Triple H started by, he was very calm to begin with, but he got really worked up here. He's like, he basically says there seems to be some confusion, and some people tried to assert their authority where, frankly, they don't have any. Maybe some people just don't know their role.
A great line. Know your
He
role and
said,
shut your mouth.
he continued by saying that the decisions around here come from one place and one place only. And right now, that one place, you're looking at him. Which felt like A, message to The Rock, and B, a message to Vince, like, hey, motherfucker, you see
Right,
this?
right. Also, as an assurance to fans and others who want to know, is Vince really gone? He's like, yeah, he's gone.
And does Rock have creative control? This was him saying, ah,
No.
to a certain extent, maybe, but not to that level, brother.
Well, they're
Sorry.
playing it really well so far. I am intrigued.
We get the Elimination Chamber for the number one contender for the World Heavyweight title match announced. And a bunch of qualifying matches, and a couple of those happened tonight, including Drew McIntyre versus AJ Styles. That was very good.
Yes.
Um, I have to say, Russ, that the rest of this SmackDown show, other than Bailey, meant a whole lot of nothing.
Right. I'm high on Bailey, but like I said, that's about it.
Would you say you're hooked on a feeling?
Ah, yeah,
Let's
definitely.
not let's not turn this into a
Karaoke.
carry. We will lose so many followers anyway.
Oh, yes, we would. Yes, we would.
By the way, a shout out to Dakota Kai during that whole Bailey segment. She was fucking great.
Yes.
Dakota Kai, whatever you want to say about her, she's in the right business.
Yeah.
She
We're still,
belongs in the fucking wrestling business.
but she's not, we're not, still not 100% sure which side she's on. I mean, she's with Bailey, but is she really? We'll see.
I think she's going to end up having to be. Or she's going to end up being the mastermind behind this whole thing.
Right. But I would rather I'd rather have her team with Bailey. And even before the big showdown, we could get some tag matches or whatever.
If Dakota can get cleared, I mean, she tore that
Yeah.
ACL.
Yeah. It hasn't been that long. She probably better take it easy.
I mean, torn ACL is no fucking joke, dude.
No. Sounds pretty bad.
Anytime
Painful.
you tear your ACL, it's bad. There's no good way to tear your ACL. If you even partially tear your ACL, it's 8 months. If you fully tear it, it's 15.
So
Think about that.
everybody out there, watch out for your anterior cruciate
Cruciate
ligament.
ligament.
Yeah. See, I
Yeah.
know science.
Well, Russ, good to have you back, brother. Good to
It's
be
good to be
back.
here, man. It was touch and go there for a little while, got some health concerns, but Russ is feeling better in the pink and in the prime.
And we are back in prime form here on Two Marks and Spark. We will be back here next week,
Yes.
right?
Yes, we will. But
Well, next week is the pay-per-view.
we have some big events coming up. That's right. Next is it Saturday?
Yeah, well, we're gonna do a show again this week. We're gonna do a second show this week, probably.
All right.
Sunday,
Yes.
because we got to recap this week. I don't know. We're gonna do something with the way our schedule is right now because we gotta fix our schedule here because we keep
Sure.
getting ourselves fucked up. But bottom line, because Stone Cold said so, is there will be a show early next week, and then there will be another show late next week because of the chamber.
Yes.
Um,
Good idea.
one way or another, we're gonna get our schedule turned around here.
Yeah.
We need to start
We
figuring
need
something
to
out for that.
we need to slip an extra episode in there. We'll get back on track.
We'll slip 3 extra episodes in if we have to. Well, whatever.
You darn right.
But Russ, I think it's time we bid these fine people adieu. Let's go home, brother.
All right. Been very good to see you again. We'll see you next week.
See you next week, y'all. Damon, play my fucking music.